fresh out the oven. It's Cinema Bums. I'm Wade.
And I'm Emmett.
Cinema Bums is a podcast where we watch through every single movie in popular film franchises, one each week, to try and track how the storytelling changes over time. Today we are beginning our new mini-series, Can You Feel the Bums Tonight? Covering all the films in the Lion King series. We will fully spoil today's film, but we will not spoil any future entries in the series. Emmett, how are you doing?
I am doing wonderfully today. Wade, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be recording in person with you.
Yeah, it's so much. It's been so long since we recorded in person, and I'm very excited about the people we are here in person with.
Yes, I am too. Today we're honored to have not one, but two very special guests. We're honored they took some time out of their busy schedule playing Roblox to come and talk to us. Please welcome Modeste and Akiba.
Woo, woo, woo. Hello. It's crowded.
Thank you for being here.
No problem.
Modeste, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
Have you seen The Lion King before?
Yeah, I have. I've watched it only one time, and this is my second time watching it today.
Okay. Have you seen any of the other movies in the series or the TV shows?
I've seen the one between the full Lion King and Lion King half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I've watched the clips and everything. And
Cool. Have you seen the live action one?
no, not yet.
Okay. And Akiba, have you seen The Lion King before?
Yeah,
How many times would you say you've seen it?
like 30 or something.
30 times? Wow.
You really like it, huh?
Yeah.
And have you seen the other movies in the series?
Well, I have seen Lion King 2, but not the other ones.
But you've seen the live action one, right? The remake?
Oh, yeah, I've only seen half of that.
Okay. And Emmett, what is your history with the Lion King movies?
Never seen it
Wow.
before. I'd only seen most of the live action remake because I got in like 10 minutes late to the theater when it was in theaters a couple summers ago. And so that was my main experience with the story. And like I'd seen parts of it, like it'd been on in people's houses and stuff like that. But I was an anti-Disney child, very too cool for Disney when I was a kid, and then had no reason to like watch it when I was an adult, or so I thought.
Was that a family stance or just your personal preference?
Kind of a family stance about like my parents were into like the old school Disney stuff, like Robin Hood and Aristocats was a big one in our family. But the newer stuff, like the stuff that came out in the late 80s and 90s, was like less of a thing for our family for whatever reason. We were more into Pixar at the time.
Oh, okay. And Modeste and Akiba, have you guys seen other Disney movies?
Yeah.
Like other animated ones like this?
Yes.
I'm not really a Disney fan.
Mm-hmm.
I watch more Netflix than watch Disney, so
Some
not
Netflix
really.
are also Disney.
That's true.
Some.
Are there any others that you like that you can think of off the top of your head?
I'm gonna try.
Or what other movies do you like in general? That's probably good.
Well, I Cry and the Last Dragon.
Oh, I liked that one too.
There's a lot of movies that I watch.
Yeah, true.
But if I had to pick one, it would have to be How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, yeah?
Wow,
it's actually a good movie.
That is really
I
good.
love that one too.
The first one or 2 or 3?
Actually, I like all of them, so I cannot really decide.
I like them too. I love the second one. That's my favorite. Akiba, what are some other movies you like? Well, this is your favorite movie, right? What other ones do you like?
I like Madagascar, Escape to Africa.
Oh, I love that one. The second one is my favorite.
Yeah.
Isn't that the one written by
One of the
Noah
Coen
Baumbach or one of the Coen brothers?
One of the Coen brothers, I think.
Yeah. I think Baumbach did some animated kids movie. Akiba, do you think you could explain what this movie is about for anyone who hasn't seen it? If someone's listening and hasn't seen The Lion King, can you tell them what happens in it?
Sure. I really think The Lion King is all about life, all telling about how life really, really matters to everyone in the earth. That we should all take care of the earth
Wow.
because we could all end up dying someday if we don't take care of the earth.
That's true.
That is really
something
true.
that could happen.
That is.
Okay, Modeste, can you explain some of the events of this movie?
To people that haven't watched Lion King, to me, it's like good and all, but I'm not really a fan of it. If you haven't watched it, you really need to watch it. It is really fun. It's about a family. There's a dad that has a son, and the son has an uncle, and the uncle keeps lying to him about everything, and then one day the uncle goes too far with it, and then the son's dad dies because of the uncle. So, and then the uncle told the son of the dad to run away and never come back.
And then what happens? That was really good, but what happens next?
Well, then he meets two people. Their name is Timon and Pumbaa, right? They take him, and they take care of him until he's grown, until he met his best friend from a long time ago, and then her best friend tells him to come back. You are the king now. But then he says, I'm not the king. My uncle is the king now. And then the girl says, well, we need you. You are our only hope.
Truly, because
Yeah.
they never had any water.
And then a red-bum monkey, comes
That's
along.
the funny part.
And then he says, look down deep in the water. And then the lion says, I only see a reflection of myself. The monkey says, look harder. And then he sees his dad. And his dad gives him advice. He says, remember who you are. And then he does. So he goes back and defeats his uncle. And he becomes the new king.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
He
They have a
becomes
new
the
baby.
Lion King.
I feel like that really hit all the important points, and that part about where he sees himself in the water and then sees his dad, like looks deeper and sees his dad. Like that was really moving to me, and it was really moving again hearing you describe it. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Akiba, this movie is called The Lion King. Do you think they're talking about Mufasa or Simba?
I don't really know because they both became king, but one died because of his brother. He literally hated him for some reason, so just decided to kill him. So, but I think they're talking mostly about Simba because they said his name the most.
I do think so. I think
You're onto
right.
something there.
All right, I'm going to just talk about some of the stats of how they made this movie. Today we're talking about The Lion King. This is the 32nd Disney animated film.
No way.
Wow.
It's also the 5th of 10 films in the Disney Renaissance, which is a period of time which lasted from 1989 to 1999.
What are the other films in that series? If you don't
Well,
mind?
funny you should ask, Emmett. How about we play a little bit of Bums the Word?
Oh, no way. Oh, this is fun.
So in this game, we have 10 movies here. One of them is The Lion King.
Okay.
And I'm going to say, and we'll see if you guys can guess them, the three of you. So I'll give you clues. And if you haven't heard of them, it's fine. But we'll just see how many we can guess.
Okay.
Some of these are definitely less well known than others.
Okay.
So we're going in order.
Okay.
The first one comes out in 1989. Okay, so this first movie they're all animated. They're all musicals. This one takes place under the sea.
The Little Mermaid?
That is correct.
Yes.
Under the sea.
The Little Mermaid is the first one in the series.
Wow.
Okay, the second, this one I would maybe be surprised if anyone has heard of, but we'll see. This is a sequel to a movie that happened before the Disney Renaissance, the only sequel on this list. It's about two mice?
Oh, I know what this is.
Two
but
rats?
See if you can get them to guess it.
This one takes place in Australia. It's part of that Australia fever we were talking about the other week.
Yeah.
So the premise is sort of the characters from the last movie go on a vacation. That's what this movie is about.
Is it Rescuers Down Under?
It is. Emmett, you were
Okay.
right.
I don't know that movie.
Yeah.
A movie I have only ever seen the previews for on other Disney movies from this era.
Oh, wow.
I remember liking this one, but either not liking or never seeing the first one as a kid. Okay, number 3 is it's a love story between a girl and a monster.
Beauty and the Beast.
Did you say Duty? Beauty and the Beast, not Duty and the Beast.
Beauty and
That's
the
a
Beast.
different one. That's the Nickelodeon Renaissance.
Shots fired.
4th on the list. This is the first one we've had so far that's about a boy. It's about a boy who meets a magical friend who grants him 3 wishes, and he has to figure out what to do with them. Yes? His best friend is a monkey?
Aladdin.
No, I couldn't remember the name.
Now, I saw Akiba know it in his
I
heart
saw
and
too.
not remember the name.
You guys are doing really good.
I really forgot his name. I thought his name was Adam.
It's pretty close.
I mean, we've only watched it one time anyway, so.
I don't know.
Number 5 is The Lion King, the one we're talking about today. Number 6, this is a film they were making at the same time as The Lion King. A historical movie. It's talking about a time in American history where British settlers came and invaded the Native American land.
Ooh.
And this is also kind of a love story about a Native American woman who falls in love with a British man and protects him from being hurt. The name is the name of the historical figure.
Whoa, I don't know this movie. I think you know, Modest,
I don't
because
know
you
if you
watch
guys-
more movies than me.
The song from this one is Colors of the Wind.
A song that I love.
That's
So
the song she sings.
Wait, then you should know it.
I do know the name. I was just waiting to see if y'all know.
I'm not
Do
a
you know
historical person.
Yeah, me
The
too.
name-
I agree.
The movie is Pocahontas.
Oh,
I don't
my
know that
gosh.
movie, really.
Have you guys seen Pocahontas?
No, I've only heard the name.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen it either. I just know the song.
It was one that I didn't like as much as a kid. I remember being scared of the tree. There's like a grandmother tree who talks and takes care of her.
That's cool. Some Deku tree stuff.
Okay, here we go. Coming to the end. Number 7, I would say this is probably the second least well known of this list. This is, I think, based on an old book. It is about a guy who has a sort of a physical disability. He looks different than everyone else, and he has to hide away from the world. And then eventually he comes and he meets the rest of the world. This one takes place
In France?
in France,
I think. I think.
Beauty and the Beast is also France.
I
might
do
be
not
Italy.
know this one. So.
This one is The Hunchback of Notre Dame,
Oh, wow, I really don't know this one.
which
Have you
is
guys heard
France,
of that?
obviously. I don't know why I thought of Italy. No, it's France.
I haven't heard of it.
Yeah,
Oh, my gosh.
that's another kind of scary one.
It is.
Number 8. This is not only my favorite movie on the list, it's my favorite Disney movie. We'll see if you guys have heard of it. It is about a guy who is the son of a god, but he's raised with other humans. He goes from zero to hero and accepts his destiny, and he has to fight a bunch of monsters and protect the girl that he loves.
And it's based on Greek mythology.
Yeah, it's a Greek. He puts the glad in gladiator.
I watch movies, but these are kind I don't know. But
Yeah, seriously.
Emmett?
Is it Hercules?
It is Hercules.
Wow.
My fave.
wow.
Surely I don't. Wait,
Another
didn't
one that
you
I've
say-
never seen.
Oh, it's so good.
Didn't you say the other one was your favorite one, or was it this one?
This one, Hercules, is my favorite Disney movie.
I see.
Okay, 2 more on this list. This one I bet you guys have heard about because they just put out a live-action remake of it last year on Disney+. This movie takes place in China. It is about a woman who, there's sort of a national draft, and she goes to fight a war and pretends to be a boy.
Oh, is it Mulan?
It is Mulan. Good job.
Nice.
And the last one on this list in 1999, the end of the Disney Renaissance. This is also based on a classic book. It is about a boy who's raised by monkeys. And he thinks he's a monkey, and then a group
The Jungle Book.
No. Oh, well.
Is that it?
That is
also
the plot
I
of
was
the Jungle
going to
Book.
say I thought the Jungle Book was the 60s.
Oh, man.
Maybe
Come on.
I'm getting this sort of wrong. At the beginning, it starts with a boat crashing, and only the little kid lives. And he's raised by monkeys, and
By
eventually...
gorillas.
By gorillas?
Not monkeys.
Know this.
He's raised by gorillas. Eventually, some more people come and meet him.
Tarzan.
That's right.
No! Yes.
Nice.
Great job.
Even though there's a 5.
I thought about the gorillas and him acting like a gorilla.
I got 5 correct movies.
Nice.
Probably that's half.
That's
I
good.
only got like 1 or 2 right.
You got the last 2 right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that means I got 2 right.
So that's the whole period. That's
Wow.
what this is sort of in the
Wow.
middle of.
I didn't understand when you said monkey.
I guess they were gorillas. And I was right about that.
And
Yeah.
I feel like this and Beauty and the Beast are the only 2 that I guess Little Mermaid are like the 3 that you would think about in a big way. I don't know. I guess Aladdin's pretty good, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I
But
think Aladdin.
it's strange to think of that
I
as being like the
guess.
Disney Renaissance and having so many movies that now you don't really think about.
I don't know. I feel a lot of these have been a little forgotten. Definitely Hunchback and Rescuers.
Yeah.
Okay, so this movie, The Lion King, we've never talked about an animated movie.
No, we haven't.
So these things are produced very differently from regular movies. You don't really, I shouldn't say regular movies, from live action movies. You don't really see like auteurs or single directors. Most animated movies have a bunch of directors, a bunch of writers. They change a lot in the process, which we'll hear about a little bit later. But since they're sort of drawing them and recording the voices, like very often they'll change right before they come out. Like,
Oh,
they'll keep-
because some movies are now getting part 2s.
that is true.
Tons of them.
So the 2 directors for this movie, one is named Roger Allers. He was a guy who worked at Disney for a long time. He worked his way up. The only other movie he gets a directing credit on, though, is Open Season. But that's sort of the thing, is that a lot of these people sort of do animation on one movie, direct a movie, write the script for the other movie. Like very much a big team. The other director is Rob Minkoff.
Rob Minkoff?
This is his first directing credit. He goes on to direct Stuart Little. Emmett Stuart Little,
Yeah.
written by, do you know?
No, is it written by
M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh my god, of course. I still have nightmares about parts of that movie. So
He also directed The Haunted Mansion and Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
Oh, Mr. Peabody.
love Haunted Mansion.
Mr. Peabody.
I only like Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
Yeah. It was written by, 3 people get writing credit. It's written by Irene Michi, and she was another Disney person. She wrote Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, and Brave. Have you guys seen Brave?
Oh, I think so. I just can't remember.
Brave.
She's got big red
It's a
hair.
Pixar one. It's Scottish.
Yeah. She turns into a bear.
Also written by Jonathan Roberts, who wrote a movie that scared me as a little kid, James and the Giant Peach.
That animation was weird.
Yeah, and also Monsters, Inc., one of my favorites.
So good.
And Linda Wolverton, who's sort of the most high-profile writer here. She also wrote Beauty and the Beast, Alice in Wonderland, and Maleficent. So
Wow.
she's still working at Disney.
Maleficent.
And she wrote the books for the Broadway musicals of The Lion King, Aida, and Lestat.
No way. Is the Lestat about the...
Yeah.
Is that a musical about the vampire from Interview with a
It is.
Vampire?
Tying
oh my
back to
gosh,
our-
tying everything
It's
back
Old Boy
together. Yeah.
So the 5 songs that are sort of the musical numbers, which does not include the first opening song, but the 5 character songs, the music was written by Elton John, who you guys might know from the Bob the Builder Christmas special, A Christmas to Remember, where he's Bob's brother. That's his most notable credit. And the lyrics are by Tim Rice, who writes lyrics for a ton of musicals.
Yeah.
I've got here Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat, Jesus Christ Superstar, Chess, Aida, and then in movies, Aladdin and The Road to El Dorado.
Road to El Dorado?
Yeah.
That's my favorite animated film of all time. And please at me about it.
Is Chess your favorite musical of all time?
Chess is the only musical that I'm aware of.
But the music, the score for this is by Hans Zimmer.
And it slaps.
We're going to talk about that. This is my hot take. I don't think any movie has been as elevated by the score since John Williams in 1977 with Star Wars.
That?
Like, I think if you watch this movie and it didn't have that incredible score...
I mean, it really hits you in the emotions every time.
Mm-hmm. This movie runs 1 hour and 28 minutes. How did you guys feel about the pace? Like, do you think it was slow? Do you think it was quick?
It's actually a bit fast.
A bit fast?
Yeah. I feel like
I thought it was going to be...
in the beginning it was going slow, but then when Simba was growing up, I feel like it started going fast.
It literally started going fast.
I feel like it took a minute just to watch the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I think the first act, like, until Simba's banished, is, like, kind of slow. I like all of it, but it is kind of, like, slow, and you're like, okay, when are we getting into it? And then the second, it feels like it's a first act, second act, rather than a first, second, and third act sort of movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it does have a second and third, but they're just, like, so much shorter than the first.
Yeah, the second act feels like it's like 15 minutes. Because it feels like it's just the Timon and Pumbaa stuff.
It's mostly the song. It's mostly the Hakuna Matata and Can You Feel the Love Tonight is like most of what the second act is.
Wait, let me ask you, Emmett. So you didn't watch this as a kid, but did you know the songs and the story and stuff?
Yes, vaguely. I mean, I knew like Hakuna Matata. I knew Can You Feel the Love Tonight. I knew Circle of Life. I knew basically the story because I'd been told that the story was Hamlet, which I now don't believe is true. I think anybody who was trying to tell me that this was Hamlet was like oversimplifying two things at once. Mm-hmm. I do think this movie is very Shakespearean.
Well, we'll step into the Shakespeare corner later.
Yeah.
Okay, this movie was released June 24th, 1994, a month before I was born.
Well,
it had a budget of $45 million. It made $986 million.
Wow.
It was
That
the
is so much.
highest grossing film of the year.
wow.
It was, at the time it came out, the highest grossing animated film of all time. Wow. It is now the 12th highest grossing animated film of all time.
Jeez.
It was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, this was absolutely gigantic. I think much bigger than the others.
In the same
I would guess so. I'm just looking here. Oh, yeah, Beauty and the Beast made 440, so half of this.
Wow.
So this is like doubling what everything else does, basically.
Oh, I see.
Wow, Tarzan only makes 250. Yeah, so this was like by far the biggest movie. Wow. In the series. And it was liked at the time, positive reviews by critics. It's got an 88 on Metacritic.
Wow.
I think critics were a little bit mixed on it being more adult themed. That was a big thing in a lot of the reviews I read, is people thought that it was sort of more for adults. It's also sort of, we're not going to get into the whole Disney Renaissance, but it's interesting because like before these movies, adults wouldn't really like find much to watch in kids' movies.
Right.
And there also wasn't like, people weren't really putting, I don't want to say effort, like these people were working really hard, but there wasn't an effort to make kids' movies appeal to like the whole family and have some sort of broader message. They were just sort of like things to entertain kids.
Right. I feel like this is something that Pixar, right at the end of the Disney Renaissance, picks up and like runs with, and like I feel like part of the whole Pixar brand, at least for a while, was being like a family movie in the broadest sense, or like there's something for everyone.
Mm-hmm. And then my review quote is kind of talking about this. It's Roger Ebert, of the Chicago Sun-Times, who wrote, "Basically what we have here is a drama, with comedy occasionally lifting the mood. The result is a surprising seriousness. This isn't the mindless romp with cute animals." All right, Modeste, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
Do you think The Lion King is a flop or a bop?
For me, it's a bop.
Okay, so you like it.
Yeah, I do. Even though I didn't like it the first time I watched it.
You liked it more this time?
Yeah. Something that I like about it is the graphics, the backgrounds.
It looks really cool.
It does.
Yeah,
it
it does.
holds up really well, I think, animation-wise.
Akiba?
For
Is
me,
this...
it's also Pop.
Ah, there we go. What are some of the things you like about it?
I actually liked when he was growing up, when he was a teen. He looked like his kid when he got bigger. I also like when he was dancing with Timon and the others. It was actually funny when he was dancing.
Emmett, flop or bop?
It's a bop. It's unmitigated. I was worried, and I loved it. Wade, flop or Bob?
It's a Bob for me as well. We're in full agreement. I thought it was great. It was so good. Even better than I remembered. I mean, I liked it as a kid. I guess I didn't really talk about my history. We were like basically Disney kids, I guess. But I was much more, I really liked Star Wars and I really liked Harry Potter. Those were like my big things as a kid. But I did like watch Disney movies, which I feel like you didn't as much. Yeah. So I liked this as a kid. I definitely knew the songs, but it was never like my favorite. But yeah, it's so good.
It just kicks, man. What can you say? I mean, I think that quote really hits it on the head because it really does hit you in some serious places. It's like a good coming of age story. I kept being reminded of Star Wars while watching this movie. And it's not just that Darth Vader is his dad as well.
Yeah, did you guys know that the actor who plays Mufasa, James Earl Jones, also plays Darth Vader?
Oh,
Is Darth
I am
Vader
your father.
the like villain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was reminded of that, and I kept thinking about how this movie does like hits a lot of the same classic hero's journey sort of story elements, where he's banished as a child. There's like the ogre father, the theme that I love, with Scar. There's him having to go on a journey, him having to go deep into the belly of the beast, him finding unlikely companions who help him through, and then coming back to return. And even the idea that the land has suffered in his absence, that in the absence of the true king, the whole land becomes a wasteland, is really like tied into that whole idea.
There are some Star Wars vibes for sure, with Yoda and Rafiki, I think. I also thought about Black Panther a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Which obviously comes after, but a lot of sort of the afterlife and ancestors and the stars and the water reminded me of that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the monkey played as Black Panther too, because they sort of had the same voice to me.
Akiba, you said this was your favorite movie. What do you like about it more than other movies?
In other movies, sometimes they're like kids all the way to adults, but it doesn't show really how they grow and what they ate, because you really need something to eat. But when it comes to being in the wilderness, I also like the songs when they showed what happened right in the songs.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is you like how they showed how Simba's growing up.
Yes.
And all the songs that they were singing, right?
Yes, and how they showed it.
It sounds like you really like that middle section with Timon and Pumbaa.
I
where
know.
he's growing up.
That was actually my favorite part of him growing up.
Do you like him more when he's a little kid or when he's full grown as the king at the end?
Full grown. His voice sounds even better than before. But I can't say that his voice was bad when he was a kid. It was actually good.
For me, it would be when he was a teen. If he had kept that hair like that, him and the sun would match.
Yeah.
Like, literally. They would both have the same haircut, but when lions grow, their mane starts to change.
Yeah. Like Kion, he still had that hair that Simba had when he was a teen. It was like the exact same small hair.
So you guys are talking about The Lion King 2? Or The Lion Guard?
Lion Guard.
Yeah,
The
The
Lion
Lion
Guard.
Guard.
Okay. That's the TV show. Have you
Yeah.
seen much of the TV show?
I've
I
seen
think
it
we've
like
seen a lot.
1,000 times.
I think we've
once.
seen a lot of it.
Yeah.
Are there songs in the TV show too?
There actually is.
Are they good?
Yeah, there is. They're good.
Okay. That's cool.
Fantastic.
Is adult Simba in it as the dad?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
is.
in
is.
some of them. Well, Kion's actually like his dad. He got into trouble once too. He was playing with his friend the honey badger, and then he fell right where Simba fell in when he was still a kid.
Oh.
Wow.
Kion had the roar early.
Yeah. The lion guard's roar.
Yeah,
all
it
the
takes
lions.
Simba a long time to get that roar.
What do you guys think about that? About how at the very beginning he can't roar, and that's kind of like why he gets in trouble. And then at the very, very end is like the kind of what you close on with him roaring. What do you guys think about that?
I think he's very angry because they wouldn't let his friend go. They wanted to eat him, but then his friend couldn't do anything but spread stink, but he couldn't climb up, so he wanted them to let go of his friend, so they refused, and then he literally did the roar for some reason.
Like, he roared, but him and his dad did at the same time. His dad was actually coming while roaring. And then when Simba roared, it sounded like he's the one that did it. So the hyenas got scared, but it was actually his dad.
No, Scar,
And then at the end, where he could roar,
Scar had that roar, and he used that to kill all the other lions that were helping him with his roar. He used it for evil, so that's how the other lions were in the sky helping him, even Simba too.
yeah, did you guys know that Scar actually had his own guard?
No.
I do, because he showed the story when Mufasa betrayed him, but it was all for a certain reason, because Scar's mom was angry at him because he wasn't evil like her, so then she literally scratched him in the eye, and then got
That's
a
how he
scar.
got the scar.
That's how he got the scar?
And that's how he got his nickname.
Yeah, Kion also had a scar. Then his voice actually changed too.
Did you get, when you watched this the first time, did you know that Mufasa was going to die?
When we watched it the first time, we didn't really know that because it was our first movie that we watched, actually.
It
Then
was the first movie you had ever watched?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Then when I watched The Lion King, when Mufasa died, I knew something familiar. He was also up there roaring with Kion.
He was.
Awesome. So, who do you guys think is the main character of this movie?
I'm thinking it's Mufasa.
You think it's Mufasa?
Yeah, I also think so.
What do you think that Mufasa wants in this movie?
He wants his son to be king right after the sun sets on him.
What he wants is, he wants a bright future with his son. He doesn't want to pass away, and he doesn't want his son to watch him pass away. What he wants is really just to have a family and
Good future.
just have a great life without Scar.
Except Scar literally turned his back on his own big brother. Then he eventually got angry, but I don't feel like Mufasa would really have the heart to fight his own type.
I think that was me and Akiba right there fighting.
Yeah, you guys are brothers. It's sad to see Scar and Mufasa as brothers who are... Well, I guess Mufasa likes Scar.
Yeah, but
Kind of.
Likes him enough.
Yeah.
Likes him enough to not chase him off.
Uh-huh.
But Scar,
he's a hater. He's a total hater.
He's
Wow,
a
Scar
hater.
is a total hater, I would say.
He's actually like Kion, because when Kion got his scar by a snake, he also started getting mean.
Oh, wow.
And he used his roar for evil, but he eventually almost lost it, but he didn't. They gave him these purple plants to help him stay nice and not use the roar for evil.
Wow.
Well, it sounds like we got to watch The Lion Guard.
We got to get in on this extended universe lore here. This sounds really cool.
Emmett, who do you think the main character is?
And I think it's Simba, and I think he's going on a classic hero's journey. I think he wants to find his roar. I think that is deeply tied into it. It's the thing that fails him early on. It's the thing that at the end affirms him as king.
Well, it's interesting because it seems like he doesn't want to be king for
He doesn't want to be king for a long... Yeah. And
but at the beginning, he just can't wait to be king.
He wants to be king, and then he doesn't want to be king for a while, and then he does. But I think even when he does want... I think even in the middle part, he wants to be worthy of being king. And I think that's part of it, is he doesn't believe himself to be worthy in the middle part. And so he would like to be king if he could forgive himself or get past what Scar did to him. But he blames himself so much that he's kind of trapped. He's trapped himself. Like Scar laid the trap, but he's the one who's like holds the key to the prison, basically. Which is also a big like hero's journey thing of like once you look inside yourself and realize that you have the power, then like you're able to go and defeat whatever needs to be done.
Because his dad really isn't dead. He literally lives right in him.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
lives in you.
I think that's kind of true because they look the same and they're grown-ups.
They do.
No.
And it's interesting when he comes back, because everyone thinks that Mufasa and Simba are both dead. And when he comes back, they think it's Mufasa coming back, not Simba coming back.
It also ends on the same shot of his child being raised up like he was raised up, which was like the beginning shot of the movie, which is kind of cool too.
Yeah.
That cyclical, the whole circle of life thing.
Yeah.
Well, here's what happened in the Lion Guard. Scar was a huge piece of fire.
Wait, does Scar come back?
Well, yes,
He dies in
but
this
only in a block of fire.
So he dies,
Uh-huh.
but turns like into fire.
He turns into like a fire spirit.
Yeah, he
Is
turns
it like how they see Mufasa, they see Scar like that?
yeah, kind of like that. So, but now Scar still leads the hyenas, and the hyenas still believe him.
Not for long, because when they met the team, they literally got scared of Kion because of his war. But then they got into, all in a team with Kion. So
Wait, who do you think the protagonist?
I
of
think
this
it's
film
also
is?
Simba. I'm not really sure what he wants for most of this. I think it's tied into his dad somehow. I feel like he wants to make his dad proud or like live up to the long shadow cast by his dad. Because his dad Mufasa's like a really good king, it seems like, from what we see of him. Simba as a little kid, that makes a lot of sense. Like as a little kid, you're very excited by the opportunity to do that. As a teenager, you're sort of intimidated by living up to that. And he also is sort of living in this shame and doubt. Just causes him to like shut down.
He's also got friends who are telling him, ignore the world. It's okay. We can let the world go to hell and we're just going to have a good time while that happens. And that's fine.
That's an interesting thing. We won't get all the way into on this, but it's just interesting that Hakuna Matata is like a bad thing in the movie, right?
No
Kind of?
worries.
exactly.
Kind of.
No
yeah.
worries.
But then Disney
no
has
worries.
like used it as the marketing.
It
thing.
is the thing of this movie.
Yeah.
Imagine you broke something that was $1,000 and you don't have that
And then
much.
you're gonna say,
no
and then
worries.
you're gonna say,
No
no
worries.
worries, really?
Exactly. You'll literally be arrested for that.
Yeah. What are you gonna tell him? No worries.
Nothing really.
Say,
They got everything on
say
camera.
put your behind in the past.
I'm gonna be like, that's not true. I have to pay for that, and I don't even have close to money for that thing. But there wasn't like furniture and stuff in like the Lion King.
No.
Yeah, so they didn't have to worry so much about money things there. That
No.
helps a lot
They got
with the
But they
no
had
worries.
to worry about life.
That's true. That's true. It's life or death all the time out there.
That actually reminds me of a day at school we watched something. A teacher told a student that they didn't understand the test, so the student told them that the teacher did not understand life.
Wow. The student told
Not
the teacher that?
ununderstood. Yep.
What did the teacher say?
She was speechless.
The teacher was speechless.
Yeah, but her eyes really opened from that.
That's awesome.
Oh man.
Okay, so if we think Simba or Mufasa is the main character, then we're going to go around and each say who our favorite character is other than Simba and Mufasa.
Good
Our
gracious.
MVP for this movie. We'll start with you, Modest. Who is your favorite character other than Simba and Mufasa?
I would have to pick Timon and Pumbaa.
Oh, you got to pick one. You can only pick one.
Pumbaa, actually. He was funny.
True. That's true.
What's your favorite moment with Pumbaa?
Like when he was singing, it actually did hurt my ears, but I like how he's funny and everything. So yeah, I mean, I would like to spend even a whole day with them.
Do you think you could get over the smell to hang out with them and have fun?
Maybe I can. I don't know.
You're willing to try, though, huh?
I will try.
I'd like to spend a day with him too.
I feel like you spent 3 years with him.
Me, the red butt monkey eventually.
Rafiki?
Yep.
I think Rafiki has a blue butt.
I think so, too. He's got that
I forgot.
Okay.
But Rafiki is your favorite character?
He's actually fun with his voice and he keeps dancing. Eventually when he hit Simba with the stick, he was acting silly with that. And when he was doing this, he eventually looked serious, but till then he started goofing around again.
When he was meditating. He looked serious.
What do you think it means, Akiba, that the wisest person in the whole movie also goofs around a lot?
I think he really doesn't want to ruin everything for everyone, and I think he also just wants to be fun around people.
I mean, obviously everyone knows that he's the wisest.
He's the wisest one.
And what do you think when he beats up all the hyenas at the end?
Oh, that was funny. The voice. The hyenas were no match. He literally got them without even looking at them. Especially the one at the end when the hyena was trying to attack his face, he literally hit him with his hand.
He's got kung fu moves.
Yeah.
He does.
Emma, who's your MVP?
Oh, it's hard because there's so many good people, and Timon has not been taken yet. But I'm gonna have to go with Scar. I think it is a true star turn for Scar in this film. It is. He's the first speaking line. He's got, I think, maybe the clearest motivation out of anybody in the whole film. It's not clear why he wants it, but it's clear what he wants and what he's willing to do to get it. And I think he's funny. Yeah. I think he's deeply funny and deeply weird. And
like when he said an elephant graveyard, the hyenas ate all of the elephants. This huge tusk was there, this huge skull that really looked like an elephant skull. And
I think it was.
Woo, that really got me creeped out because that thing was huge.
Yeah.
Humongous.
This movie really has it all. It has the scares, it has the family stuff, it has the romance,
and the
action,
how'd y'all
the jokes.
How'd y'all feel about the romance?
No, I don't even want to talk about that.
Truly.
Can you feel the love tonight?
Truly,
Yeah, y'all could not feel the love tonight, huh?
Except, I like the song, but I
am Simba.
I don't know.
I feel like the modern Disney thing is making the bad guys hot.
Oh,
and maybe the Disney Renaissance thing was making the bad guys funny.
Yeah.
Because I think Ursula has a lot of jokes too. Hades has a lot of jokes.
Well, we'll talk about that on a later episode, what they were doing with the villains in the Disney Renaissance.
Just like
and why they're so funny and so iconic. And I love them so much.
So fashionable.
Fashionable.
As for my MVP, this is tough.
Who's your MVP?
It's really tied between two, and neither of them have been taken. So I've really got to decide here. I want to give a little shout out, since I'm last, to the little mole who pops up. And says, news from the underground.
I also have that written down as like a star moment in this
Also,
film.
the iguana who walks past and doesn't care about, is unimpressed by Simba's roar.
It reminds me a lot of our own Sweet Caliban.
Okay, I don't know. I love both of these guys equally. I guess I gotta give it to Timon. Timon is so funny.
Yeah.
He's so funny. It was either gonna be Timon or Zazu. Those are my two favorites.
Yeah, it was like, I can't hear you, buddy.
He said, back me up.
He's so funny. I love when he says, "Hey, what's going on here?"
I love his line. He says, "It starts."
Yes, I love when he says, "What do you want me to do? Dress in drag and do the?" When it comes to
And him and Pumbaa are like the funniest ones in the movie.
You're forgetting one more person. Well,
who else is funny?
Monkey.
Yeah, Rafiki's funny too. I think
But-
Zazu is funny too, but maybe that's
Yeah.
my sense of humor.
So
more
maybe 4.
I feel like that's the one that you would play in this. If it gets turned into a stage production, that's who you'd be playing in this.
Out of Africa! He's so funny.
Mr. Bean, he sounded funny when he was playing his
He was Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
With Timon, I think when you're a little kid, tastes like chicken is the funniest joke in the world. I remember that being the funniest thing I'd ever heard.
Chicken.
Is when he eats the bug and says tastes like chicken.
Slimy yet satisfying.
I was crying laughing. This is Pumbaa, not Timon. But when Pumbaa gets angry and he says, they call me Mr. Pig.
No, but he's also funny then because he literally rushed there like
like a bull trying to attack someone.
yeah.
Well, let's briefly step into the Shakespeare corner.
Okay.
Modest and Akiba, have you guys heard of William Shakespeare?
No, I can try to remember something and I do not know what.
You're that's probably still to come in your
Yeah.
in your
No,
school.
I haven't
You'll learn
heard
about
of
it
it.
in school at some point.
Probably not early high school or so.
High school.
Yeah, it's a long way off for you, I know. So don't need to worry about it too much. But the short story on this is that he was a guy who lived over 400 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, he was in England and he was a playwright and he wrote a lot of plays that people still put on to this very day. And that also get adapted into things. He wrote in like a poetry that is somewhat difficult for people nowadays to understand when they hear it. And so a lot of his stories get adapted into modern adaptations. Famous examples of this that you might not know are 10 Things I Hate About You, She's the Man. These are high school movies that were made out of Shakespearean comedies. But this movie is somewhat based on Hamlet and also just has a lot of Shakespearean stuff in it. Especially, I was struck by the 12th Night connection when Simba and Nala see each other again for the first time. And like they're fighting, and then there's like moment of recognition. It's like, can it be you? Like, I thought you were dead. And it reminded me a lot of the end of 12th Night.
I was actually also surprised because how Nala looked from all those years. Wow, she looked crazy. She was also crazy fast.
It's like her color changed. Like at first when she was young, I don't know how to describe her color, but when she was grown, it was tan.
Like from
And
this,
then when she was young, it was like light orange.
like
Oh,
this.
yeah.
You know, she was all orangey.
Yeah, that's sort of the thing you were talking about, Akiba, where we don't get to see Nala grow up.
No.
So we know what Simba looks like growing up, but with Nala, she just pops back up and looks totally different.
Just that Simba's mane was still a bit brown, but it literally turned red.
So this movie was indeed inspired by the play Hamlet by William Shakespeare. What did you make of the connections there, Emma?
Well, I think it's really interesting because in Hamlet, you never get to see Hamlet as a kid. You never get to see his good relationship with his dad and his parents, which I think is something that this movie does really well in that long first act that we talked about earlier. The similarities to Hamlet, guys, is that Hamlet's uncle has killed his father and has become king. And Hamlet has to defeat his uncle and claim the rightful kingship. But because it's a tragedy written by Shakespeare, everybody dies at the end. It does not have a happy ending like this movie does. So that I would say like those are the two big differences between Hamlet and this film would be that getting more backstory on what the good times were like. More of Hamlet at Wittenberg with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern than at the end having an ending that is happy. Because I think there's something similar going on with Hamlet having a fear to take action or like being wrapped up in the shadow of his father and not being able to take action because of that. That Simba is on a parallel journey, but I think Simba gets there a lot sooner in the course of the story.
Yes.
And gets there in a way, like fully gets there enough to be able to come in and save the day. And he also doesn't estrange Ophelia. Because he and Nala are able to have like an actual connection, he doesn't push her away. At the end, like he has friends, he has like a whole group. Whereas in Hamlet, he kills Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. He pushes Ophelia away. He isolates himself even further. I don't think that's the only reason for his downfall, but that's part of it.
Hamlet starts with him seeing a vision of his father, and then he sort of spends a lot of time deciding if he can take on his uncle, and then he makes the decision. And in this one, Simba spends a lot of time deciding if he can take on his uncle, and then he sees the vision.
Yeah.
And pretty soon after, right when he sees the vision of his father, he decides to go back and take control again.
Yeah.
Which I think is a little bit of a difference in character.
Yeah. It's an interesting remix.
I think the stuff is actually played really good when it's adult Simba, and you can tell that he's sort of not dealing with the stuff from his past.
Yeah.
But also has been like leading this life for a long time. That I feel like Hamlet would be more satisfying if Rosencrantz and Guildenstern stuck around and helped fight against the king.
Funnier.
Yeah.
I also think there was something to me about like that amount of time that he spends with Timon and Pumbaa that reminded me a lot of the past year.
Oh yeah.
Of just like, we are just sitting, we are waiting, we are not really getting anything done, we're not moving forward in our lives. I've grown comfortable with that in ways that I'm not happy about. Like,
yeah, totally.
you know, like I've gotten lazier. I've gotten less good at everything that I do because of just like that downtime of being like, well, the whole world is down, so that's okay. Nothing matters. It is like, that's like a much darker version of what they're going through. But so there's something to it, and something really inspiring about like seeing like pick yourself up out of this funk and be the person you're supposed to be.
Yeah, Rafiki saying you are more than what you have become was impactful to me.
Yeah.
I thought of the pandemic too when we see the vision of Scars. With Scar and Zazu just sitting around and singing.
Oh, yeah.
Not doing anything. How has the last year been for you guys with having to stay home and not go to doing school from home, virtual school, wearing masks, not seeing people as much?
It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Especially the masks. I do not like wearing masks.
Hopefully it's out by next year because the pandemic is getting out of control.
Mm-hmm.
Tons of people.
Even my teacher is getting out of control. She cannot even remember the subject that we're supposed to do at that time. So she forgets, and she needs a student to remind her what subject we're in.
Wow.
Well, my teacher, when she sees somebody just with their mask off, she literally screams for them to get them on. Like, she goes crazy. She only lets us take our mask off only at lunchtime, but on the rest we cannot take our mask off.
So you're back in person at school now, but you have to wear the mask the whole time?
Yeah.
Like, we're going through a crisis right now.
Yeah, that's true.
But at least it's the weekend.
At least
It's the weekend. I like that positivity, man. Put her there.
There we go. All right. What was everyone's favorite song?
There's a lot of songs.
Modest. Yeah, we've got Circle of Life, I Just Can't Wait to Be King, Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Be Prepared, Hakuna Matata. I think those are the 6 main ones.
Okay, I like Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata is your favorite?
Yeah, it was also funny, but then at the same time, it means like no worries, but no worries. You cannot say that every time, though.
Yeah.
But it was my favorite song in the whole movie.
Akiba, what was your favorite song in Lion King?
I Just Can't Wait to Be King.
That's a really fun one. I love when he starts that and the color change and it goes to like bright, like wild, non-realistic colors for a while just for that song. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also like when he pretended to have a red mane as leaves.
Oh, yeah.
I especially liked when the crocodiles had birds in their mouth. That was actually a funny part. And when Zazu went down the waterfall with that log.
Emmett, what's your favorite song?
Okay, I think the like opening song until the actual like English lyrics start is really cool. And then when it goes into the Circle of Life part, I'm less about it. But I think the like opening shot and all of that with the drums and like
I think that opening stuff is Hans Zimmer.
Vocals is just
and then
gorgeous.
it goes into, I think, Elton.
Okay, I was saying how I loved that intro, but I will say that my favorite has got to be Prepared. I think it is wild. I think it's nuts that they put Nazi hyenas in this movie.
Yes.
I think that is crazy.
Uh-huh.
I think that Scar is wonderful and is like a delicious villain because he's so evil. And like, I love an unredeemed villain.
There you go. And it's the unmotivated villain
The
too?
unmotivated,
Yeah,
unredeemable,
like,
just pure evil. I love it.
Unmotivated.
And he's that's it. Wade, what's your favorite song?
I think I've got to agree with Akiba. My favorite song is I Just Can't Wait to Be King.
Yeah.
I really like all of them. I like Hakuna Matata too. But yeah.
Yeah.
I love how upbeat it is. Like, I feel like it's really the banger of the soundtrack, which is why I like it. Yeah, and it's like so cool stage. Watching it, even though I have seen the live action remake and I know that it's not like sensational, watching this movie I was like, wow, I can't wait to see how they do it in the live action, because I've kind of forgotten, but like, do they have a bunch of real giraffes stand on top of each other for that? Like,
I don't remember that either.
how do they do the elephant graveyard? I'm very curious to see all of that stuff.
Seriously.
But
There's
shouldn't
tons of skulls everywhere.
This movie is pretty scary in some parts.
It is.
Yeah, especially the place where that hyena got spiked so much.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna just talk about the history of this movie, some behind-the-scenes drama, very briefly. The idea for this movie started in 1988, which was basically just to do a film set in Africa between a bunch of heads and producers at Disney. The first draft was written by Thomas Dish, who wrote The Brave Little Toaster. Have you guys ever heard of that movie?
No.
It's very weird. He wrote that, and the first draft of this movie was called King of the Kalahari, and it was about a war between lions and baboons.
Whoa.
Lions definitely won.
I'm sure they did. It must have changed pretty significantly, because he gets no credit at all.
Wow.
Not even a story credit on this final version.
What do you think? I am a baboon.
Then Linda Wolverton came on. She spends a year writing her version, which was called King of the Jungle.
Oh,
And they changed the title because there are no lions in the jungle.
that makes sense.
The movie takes place in the
Oh yeah,
Savannah.
like the song "In the Jungle," the mighty jungle. That's not where the lions sleep, buddy. They sleep in the savannah.
That's right.
Well, it is where Simba was sleeping in this movie because he runs off to the jungle when he's with Timon and Pumbaa for a little while.
That makes sense,
That-
but mostly all of them,
No.
not so sure.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Nala came from the savannah, not in the woods wilderness.
That's right.
Have y'all ever seen lions like in real life at the zoo?
Oh,
Yeah, we
yes.
have.
Yeah,
I also
Pretty
seen a
scary.
tiger in real life at the zoo.
yeah.
But
He was
they're
actually
just-
sitting down.
The first director of this was George Scribner, who directed Oliver and Company, the one I kind of liked as a kid. So he comes on in 91, brings on Roger Allers to be the co-director, does a bunch of story development. They go to Kenya, I think, for 2 weeks. That's sort of this Disney Renaissance thing, is they would always sort of pick a culture and then make like a fictional version based on that culture. And they would always like go and tour the place for like 2 weeks to get a sense of.
That's interesting. I would love to get into that at some other time.
Yeah. But this original guy, George Scribner, leaves the movie
Okay.
when it was decided to turn it into a musical. Which I
Really?
guess was like all the way up into this. It has not been a musical.
Wow. But all the other Disney Renaissance movies were
Oh,
musicals.
Yeah.
okay. So I
Weird.
feel like this guy has spent years working on the movie, but then 1 year they change into a musical.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if it was
A
me,
whole
I would really
musical?
leave. If it was my own movie, I would leave it.
Yeah, you would too?
I would.
I
can see that.
would take it if it was like musical. I actually like being like musical and stuff, like creative music. Like that was a lot in The Lion King. There was tons of music in there, but some didn't make any sense. Because the lions do not sleep in the jungle, man.
So he leaves, Rob Minkoff comes. This was promoted at the time as being the first original Disney animated movie. The first movie that wasn't based on anything.
Huh.
Although they talked about in all the press that they were inspired by Hamlet and they were inspired by the biblical stories of Moses and of Joseph.
Oh, huh.
So they kind of cited those things, but they really promoted this as being like the first original story they had ever done.
That's really crazy.
Yeah. And they've certainly done a lot since, although I would still say the majority of the Disney animated stuff is based on things.
Yeah.
Even loosely, you know, like Frozen is like based on
Some.
the Ice Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Raya and the Last Dragon.
Yeah, I think Raya is original. Zootopia is original.
Yeah.
Zootopia.
Oh, that one was funny, actually.
Okay, now that's like my second movie to watch.
They're like, the others were like, shut up, you shut up.
I like the sloths in that movie a lot.
Yeah.
He's like,
So, can you give? That was funny, actually.
So Disney was making this movie and Pocahontas at the same time. While they were making them, they thought Pocahontas was going to be better.
Huh.
And it was going to be like more people would see Pocahontas. So what was considered to be like the A team was doing Pocahontas, and like the B team was on this.
No way.
And a lot of people talked about how they wanted to be working on Pocahontas. They were like upset that they were working on The Lion King when it ended up being the biggest movie of all time,
Yeah.
wow. Huh.
which is pretty wild.
That is pretty wild.
And like we mentioned, things changed all the way. Apparently, Elton John saw a cut of the movie a few weeks before it came out that didn't have "Can You Feel the Love Tonight" in it. And he was like, no, you've got to put it in there. Wow. So like even that close to the wire, it was changing.
Wow.
Here's the other big thing about this movie. So it bears a similarity sort of in art style and characters to this 1960s animated Japanese TV show, which is called Kimba the White Lion.
Oh, wow.
Kimba.
And there was a lot of controversy about this movie seeming very similar to that.
Oh, like an albino lion?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the directors of this movie claimed that they had never heard of the show. But Matthew Broderick, who did know the show, he plays adult Simba. He said that he thought he was doing a movie of Kimba the White Lion when he came on board. Because he, like, knew the show.
Of course Matthew Broderick knew the show.
Which is an interesting thing, because you've got to remember, this is before the internet. So people couldn't really, like, just look up Kimba the White Lion.
Right.
Like, this is totally unsupported by anything, but my theory about this is just probably, like, some animator had seen it, probably didn't mention it to anyone else, and then, like, went in that general style, and everyone else just, like, if you're in America in the 90s and the internet doesn't exist,
Right.
how are you going to know about a Japanese TV show from the 60s?
Right. Yeah.
If you're in
Unless
America,
you're Matthew
you don't know
Broderick, I
Japanese,
guess.
then you don't know Japanese.
Yeah.
So eventually there's what
But
it
when this
is.
movie came out in Japan, there was a protest and a petition accusing Disney of plagiarism.
Wow.
But the actual team who made Kimba went and saw the movie, and they said they were fine with it. They said that they just thought it would be similar. They said if you're also making a movie set in the savannah with animal characters, like, it's probably just going to be similar.
Yeah.
Was their take, basically. Like,
Sounds like a very generous take
I
on their part.
think so too. But I think it may be true that there are certain archetypes for animals,
Sure.
you know.
Well, there's certain archetypes throughout a lot of Disney movies and a lot of animated stuff in general. So, yeah.
And this is the last thing. I don't know if you guys know this, but there are different actors playing Simba as young and old, and also when he sings. So young Simba is played by Jonathan Taylor Thomas, who's like a 90s heartthrob, Disney Channel sitcom sort of heartthrob. But his songs are sung by Jason Weaver. When he's an adult, but his songs are sung by Joseph Williams, who is the son of John Williams and the vocalist of Toto.
No way.
So he had been blessing the rains in Africa long before this movie came out.
That is crazy. Wait, did they play the movie in Africa?
They did, and I read that this is the only Disney movie that has been translated into Zulu,
Whoa.
one of the African languages.
That's really
That is actually so.
All right, now it is time for our quiz, the main event.
Okay.
Today we are going to take the ultimate Lion King quiz.
Oh,
This is by Bibine Baroud for BuzzFeed. We're going to see how many of these we can get right, and then at the end it'll tell us, okay?
Okay, before you even start, I just want to tell you, I'm not good at quizzes. Okay?
Okay.
Truly, I'm not good at quizzes either, but I think I might win this one because I know a lot of lines.
You do know a lot of Lion King, so let's see how we do. Number 1, what are the hyenas' names?
Oh, I
There are
forgot
3
that
of them.
one.
Can anyone think of any names?
I know 2 of them, I think.
Okay.
I think one is Shenzi and the other is Ed.
The leader one is. I can't remember the name.
Well, one of the options here says Ed, Shenzi, and Banzai. Banzai? Is that what we want to guess?
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, yes.
Okay, it says correct. It says
Yes.
Shenzi's full name is Shenzi Marie Predatora Veldetta Jacquelina Hyena.
Wow.
Sounds like one of Emmett's girlfriends.
That's like 7 names connected together.
What?
I literally didn't even catch some of that.
Okay, question number 2. What does Simba mean in Swahili?
Oh.
Now, there are options, okay? So we're going to pick one of these. Lion, king, cub, or heir?
Lion.
Lion?
Eventually.
Lion? Do we all think lion?
You guys seem pretty confident. I'll go with Lion.
Yeah, it's
see,
just
lion.
lion.
Correct! 2 for 2.
2 for 2.
Okay, number 3. What kind of animal is involved in that terrible stampede?
Oh.
Where's
Do you
that?
remember?
And
What animal is stampeding when they kill Mufasa?
What are the choices?
Buffalo, antelope, wildebeest, or zebra?
wildebeest.
I'm thinking of wildebeest.
Yeah,
I
it's
think that's cheeky.
wildebeest.
Wildebeest is correct.
Yes, 3 for 3.
Thousands and thousands of wildebeests, it says.
Can't
Okay,
even
this
count
question says, which character farted a lot?
Oh, Pumbaa.
I think we already know this one.
he Pumbaa. Definitely Pumbaa. He
That
even
is
farted
correct.
with
It's
the
a-
I mean,
monkeys.
you don't know. I mean, Pumbaa got the reputation, but Simba could be ripping him and blaming it on him the whole time.
I don't think so.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I know Simba burped the loudest, but Pumbaa took it too far.
Took it too far.
The smell.
Wait, speaking of which, how did the bathroom humor in this strike you? I know you find it morally
Oh,
offensive.
yeah. Where's the bathroom? What do they use for the
Yeah,
bathroom?
they just use the ground, man.
And then you go in somebody's way and then step on it. That's gonna be the worst thing of your life.
I read that this movie was the first time anyone had farted in a Disney animated movie.
Certainly not the last.
Okay, on
They
which,
found what
Okay.
worked.
on which eye does Scar have his scar? Left or right?
Left.
I agree.
Left. Very confident.
Left.
Left is correct.
Because
Yes,
I'm like, okay, so when I face this
exactly.
way,
Uh-huh.
the way that scars keep on facing is left.
That's true.
That's how Kanyan got a scar
Huh.
in the left
Well,
one.
here's something you guys might know. It says, did you know Scar's real name was Taka before he had his scar?
I know because Mufasa nicknamed him Scar.
Oh, so there's some backstory. There might be some motivation for that villain after all.
I think in the remake we get more of a motivation.
Yeah, in the Lion Guards, Scar wrote a song about that they nicknamed him Scar.
What do the bugs taste like?
Oh, tastes like chicken.
Yeah, that tastes like chicken.
That
Tastes
is
like
correct. Would you try it? That's what this quiz
No.
asks.
I would try
They look
only
pretty good.
those big worms.
I mean,
And
they're
that's
animated. They look good when they're animated, but in real life, they look nasty.
Somebody ate worms when they literally liked them. Well, it's because they cooked them, so.
When I was a kid, I was really, really interested in, and by interested in, I don't mean I actually did it. I was just really interested in cooking and eating bugs because that's something that happens in cultures around the world. And I was really fascinated. I had a book called Man Eating Bugs, which was a deceptive title.
Man eating bugs.
In which language is the beginning of Circle of Life written?
Oh.
Does anyone know? The options here are Zulu, Swahili,
That's
Afrikaans,
that's easy.
and Somali.
Swahili. I know what they are singing.
They were mixing up the languages, but I'm gonna have to go Swahili.
Swahili?
I don't know. I'm not
About you?
100% sure.
Wrong.
Was it Zulu?
That's the first one wrong. It was written in Zulu.
Wow. Hey, why didn't you say anything?
No. I
Well, you
heard
seemed so confident.
they actually did both of them because I heard some in Swahili too.
They mixed up the languages, so I was
That
not...
eventually-
As it was written
That eventually means that we're also right.
Yeah.
Ah,
That
Because
does.
I
The
heard
quiz
some
is wrong.
Swahili in the song.
okay.
I mean, we speak Swahili in it, so
Yeah.
we would understand what they're saying.
Yeah, it feels like you would have
Yeah.
known
Yeah.
if it was. then.
yeah.
Okay, finish the lyric. I've never seen a king of beasts with quite so...
Little hair.
Correct. What will the hyenas do to Simba if he ever comes back?
Oh,
Kill
kill
him.
him. Are those even
correct.
any lyrics?
No, I think that's just a line.
But then
Who goes around singing Asante Sana Squash Banana?
oh, that was that blue butt monkey. Asante Sana,
What's his name?
Oh, Rafiki.
Correct.
Asante Sana, Asante
He should be
Sana,
called Blue
Asante
Butt
Sana.
Monkey.
Oh, here we
Blue
go.
butt Rafiki monkey.
What kind of bird is Zazu?
Oh, he's a dodo bird.
Not one
No,
of the
that's what they
options.
call him. But I don't think he
Is it a
actually
toucan?
is one.
Toucan is an option. The options are canary, cockatoo, toucan, or hornbill.
Oh, this is
Oh
toucan.
wait, I think it's got to be a hornbill
Okay, I agree.
I don't know.
because I think toucans are in South America, not in Africa.
No, they're in the rainforest.
Yeah.
Okay, two
Okay,
votes for
we're going
one.
with hornbill. Correct?
Ooh.
He is a red-billed hornbill that lives in Saharan Africa. What is the last word said in the movie?
I don't pay
I'll read the options if we don't know, but I want to hear,
Yeah,
does
read-
anyone
read-
know it?
Please read the options.
Emma, any guess? Do you remember?
Is it
Oh.
remember?
That's one of the options.
Oh yeah, remember.
Okay, wait. Okay, what are the options?
Long live the king.
No.
Everything the light touches is our kingdom. Remember Mufasa.
Remember.
I think it's remember.
I think it's remember.
Yeah.
Remember is correct.
Oh,
It's
yay!
Mufasa who says it. We've got two more, and with these ones, we'll see if you were paying attention during this podcast.
Oh no.
Oh.
Which
boy.
Shakespeare play inspired the movie? Any guesses?
What are the options?
The options are King Lear, Macbeth, Hamlet, Othello.
Hamlet?
Hamlet?
I don't know.
Akiba?
It's Othello.
You think Othello? Well, I gotta pick one. Which one are we gonna go with?
Obviously, Othello.
I'm gonna put my thumb on the scale here and agree with Modest that it is Hamlet.
Oh, come on.
I don't know.
Akiba seems pretty confident.
Which one did you pick?
Hamlet. It's Hamlet.
Yes!
Ah,
I thought
you're
it was
right.
We didn't even mention Othello.
And some of those we didn't even mention at all.
Can you imagine the Disney
Julie.
adaptation of King Lear?
King Lear didn't even do that.
No.
How would somebody just guess King Lear if he didn't even do that?
Here's
And it's
the
obvious.
here's the last question. Which of these was one of the movie's original titles? King of the Rainforest, The Lion King of the Rainforest, King of the Jungle, The Lion King of the Jungle.
King of the Jungle. I think it's King of the Jungle.
I'm gonna have to go with the first one. I'm not.
King of the
of the
Rainforest?
No. I agree with the Akiba
King
now.
of the
Yeah.
Jungle?
Yeah.
You're
Agree.
correct.
Yeah.
We got 13 of 14 correct.
Oh, we only
Okay.
we only missed
Yeah.
one.
Great work, everyone.
And that's the one that we think maybe the quiz could be at least a little bit wrong about.
Well, for me, I missed
language,
two
The language
because
one, yeah.
If
I
it
was
was,
sure
I
said
thought it
Othello.
was Othello.
if it was at school, I could have probably gotten like 1 out of 14.
yeah, that's what I did.
I'm not kidding.
But once I did 0 out of 100, I was like, these questions make no sense. I haven't even learned this.
That's crazy. Why would they give
But
you
the
a test
grade
on something
wasn't
you
gonna
haven't
be
learned?
scored, so
Okay, that's
it's
good.
just scored by that. That was just the score, but it was just scored by that.
Wow.
All right. Well, Modeste, do you have any final thoughts on The Lion King?
I'm thinking of what I didn't say. that
Me, I
should
don't really have
basically
anything.
say.
I don't really have anything to say because I lost all of my thoughts from all the important things I said from the beginning. So I don't have anything to say.
All I'm gonna say is it's a good movie, and you should totally watch it.
It's actually a good movie.
It is.
Yeah.
Emmett, final thoughts?
I agree. I think it's a really good movie. I just wanted to say like a couple things about animals and the death of parents. I think Disney was going through a thing where they're like, we're not going to show human parents dying, but we can show animal parents dying, and like that is understand like the trauma of being orphaned or like semi-orphaned through the lens of an animal. You see it in Bambi, you see it in Land Before Time, you see it in this movie. You know, like the absentee parent is a big part of the hero's journey. It's like if you have parents around, you can't really go off and do the hero's journey.
Now I have
But
something.
okay, I want to hear it in just a second. I want to finish this thought though.
Okay.
In the moment when Scar pushes Mufasa off the cliff and you watch him fall right into the moment of impact and then it cuts to Simba, it's like one of the most elegant versions of the Disney non-death death. Of like the bloodless Disney death where you see someone fall off of something and you know, but like that's the one that stays with it the longest, and then it cuts immediately to his reaction, and it's so effective in a way that I feel like a lot of them kind of they mask it too much, and that is like strikes the perfect balance.
It's really traumatizing when he's with the dead body. Like,
that for a long time.
Yeah.
And that's something that happens in Land Before Time too, and probably in Bambi. I can't really remember.
Bambi is the one I remember as a kid, even much more than this one.
Yeah.
Being very sad to me.
Bandar.
Bambi. What was your thought that you had, Akiba?
My thought, this was actually good because how Mufasa died, he was actually still alive because he was still in Simba because it's actually how Jesus was still alive. How he was on the cross and 3 days later he wasn't on there. He was up in heaven, and to all that trusted God, they got a reward for that. I don't really remember what it was, but yeah, that's how it helps, because when something dies, they don't die forever. They go up in heaven, and then more people keep coming up alive.
Yeah.
One last thing. I want you guys to rate Lion King from 1 to 10.
Oh, wow. We don't normally do this.
We don't usually, but we actually
like
do.
to.
Let's start with you, Emmett.
All right. Well, Modeste, thank you for this question. I'm gonna rate this an 8. I think it's a really good movie. I think it's like there's a couple of things where like just like extra scenes, like it could be longer for me, and that would flesh it out probably and be a 10. And like some of the songs are like just like the vocals, not even like the lyrics, but the vocals are just like that cheesy early 90s sound to them. But other than that, I think it's great. Yeah, an 8, a solid 8.
Me? I'm gonna give it 10 out of 10 because the first time I saw it, I was like, okay, I did not get what this movie is about. 1 out of 10. But now that I understand things, because I'm not from here, I'm from a total different country. But now that I understand it, it's 10 out of 10 for me.
Wow, from a 1 to a 10.
Yeah.
You're really doing
Thanks a lot.
it. You're really pulling the sort of rating
Me?
system I usually rate movies on.
Me, I think 10 out of 10 too, because I always liked The Lion King. If we were rating it still like in the past, it would still be a 10 out of 10. But now that we're talking about this, it's even better, like 1,000 out of 10.
Okay.
But I also like it because we had, like, old, these things that you put in
CDs.
Oh yeah, a CD. And I really liked it that time, but when I kept watching it, I kept liking it even more for like how Simba wanted to be king, but then he didn't want to be king. Then he wanted to be king right again when he heard about what Scar is doing.
Okay.
Yeah, so it just gets better every time you watch it for you.
Yeah.
I think I'd give it a 10 as well. I think that the only thing that I don't like about it is the slow-mo fight at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Is very cheesy, and it goes on a little too long, I think, between Scar and Simba. But I don't think that pulls it back enough for me to make it a 9. Like, I just don't think that is so late in the game, and they still end with such a strong ending. Both times it cuts to the Lion King title card.
So cool.
It's so bold.
Yeah. Truly.
Yeah, this movie is like really just the hits. Like, I think it's almost sort of like Get Out in that way. And they're so efficient.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's only the things you remember from it. Yeah.
Well, true, because the 3 hyenas first were still on Scar's team, but the others weren't interested. But then the 3 hyenas also weren't interested on being on Scar's team again.
Well, Modest Akiba, thank you so much for coming on our show.
No problem.
Yeah.
While you're here, is there anything that you would like to tell the audience about? Any other movies or shows or videos you'd recommend they watch?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
Do not ever forget to watch this movie that I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
Don't forget to watch Raya and the Last Dragon.
That's what I was literally going to say.
You're gonna totally like that.
All right.
That's what I was also
You're probably
literally
gonna
going to
keep
say.
watching
Okay, I also like Frozen 2 a little bit. It's not like I don't like it just because there was mostly girls in it. It was actually good, and it was actually creative because of that little lizard. He was actually a bit funny.
Oh, there's a lizard? I'm in.
He was way too hot. Then when he standed in Elsa's hand, he like felt comfortable again. It was actually funny.
Well, we'll be back next week talking about The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride.
Very excited for this one. Excited to see another movie in this series that I'm starting a new love for. And thank you so much for being with us today, Modest. Thank you so much, Akiba.
Yeah.
Very fun to have you here.
Mm-hmm.
And stay
you guys.
frosted out there.
This was
Bye.
awesome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cinema Bums is a production of DKG Podcasts. It is created and produced by Emma Temple and me, Wade Lawrence Holloman. I also edit and mix the podcast. Our theme music is by Zane Holloman, who you can find on Bandcamp, and our show art is by Autumn Beckner. Our social media is managed by Laura Bennett. If you like what you hear, please tell all your friends, and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, the 2 best ways to spread the word about our work. You can also follow us on Instagram @CinemaBums or email us at cinemabumspod@gmail.com. Don't flake on us. We'll be back next week.